Mimi Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our guest is Glenn Greenwald, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, founding editors of The Intercept, just published The Secret Brazil Archive, a three-part expose revealing that the judge overseeing the case that put former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva behind bars likely aided the federal prosecutors in their case against Lula and other high-profile figures. Lay out what you found in this three-part report, Glenn, and how it's rocking Brazil right now.
Sergio Moro was heralded around the world as some great figure. He was named to the Time 100 list in 2016 and went to the gala in New York. He had a huge profile on him on 60 Minutes that was a puff piece, basically turning him into this noble anti-corruption figure. And there's been almost no questioning of anything that they've done, even though they've been using highly questionable practices. Here in Brazil, there's been a long time suspicion that they, in fact, were abusing their powers for political ends.
The cell phone texts, let's say, between different parties involved in this being leaked. But you were even talking about audio. How was the audio compiled? Were these people taping their own conversations? Or could you discuss a little bit the nature of the documents that you have?
Sure. So when I say audio, generally what I mean is, and we haven't published any of the audios yet, so I'm reluctant to say much about them. But when I say audios, typically what I mean is not that they were taping their own conversations, but that they often communicated with one another using apps on telephones that enable you to either type out messages to people, to you text messages to people, or you can leave voicemail messages for people, essentially. So instead of typing some long message, you just click microphone on your telephone, you speak as a monologue, and you leave a message that way on somebody else's phone, which is a very common thing to do for people who use WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal. They've said, we have no ideology, we have no party preference, we don't care who wins elections, we're only neutral judges and prosecutors applying the law. The archive that was provided to us by our source, this massive trove of secret documents about their internal communications, about their internal actions, their chats, their audios, their videos, an archive that, as I've said, is bigger in size than the Snowden archive was, which until that point was the largest leak in the history of U.S. journalism. Bigger than that, finally enables us to see the truth about what they really did. And the three stories that we published on Sunday, the reason they've shaken Brazil to the core is because Sergio Moro, after Bolsonaro won, thanks to Justice Moro putting Lula in prison, became the second most powerful person in Brazil because Bolsonaro created what he called a super justice ministry. Secondly, just like in the U.S., a judge is required to be neutral. A judge can't favor one side or the other. And there's long been a suspicion that Judge Moro, when he was ruling on these cases, like finding Lula guilty, finding other left-wing leaders guilty and people from other parties guilty, that he was in fact collaborating in secret with the prosecutors to design the case. They vehemently and angrily denied this accusation. The head of the prosecutorial task force, who's a national hero in Brazil, Deltan Dallagnol, wrote a book in which he said, these accusations are outrageous, they're disgusting.